Hi, today I'll be talking about anesthesia awareness, which is when you are awake during a procedure, and unfortunately, I have experienced this. Out of 13 surgeries, one of them, I was awake. It's very rare, and statistically, it says that about 1 or 2 people out of 1,000 procedures may experience this. There are different levels to the experience. Some may only remember waking up a couple times, some might remember being conscious but don't feel anything, or you remember everything, you're fully conscious, and you feel everything that is happening to you. And luckily, as far as I know of, there are ways that doctors are preventing this from happening and keeping track of your brain waves and making sure that you are fully unconscious during the procedure. And as for why this may happen, I am not exactly sure. I have not been able to find any exact reason or why it happened to me. The only thing I can kind of find or just assume is that when you have a lot of surgeries, you tend to build a tolerance to the amount of doses that they give you to put you under with anesthesia. And if you have higher tolerance, you might not be completely under like they think. You might be physically asleep, but it wasn't enough to consciously knock you out. And that might be a reason that happens. It was when I was 7 years old when I was having my second foot surgery. I went in, it was totally normal. I had a gas mask put me asleep, and I started drifting off. I started going to bed. I kind of kept going in and out of consciousness, but it is very typical, especially when you do have a high tolerance to anesthesia. It does take longer to go under. So I was, it's always a little nerve-wracking, but I wasn't concerned that I wasn't going to go to bed until I woke up. Now, obviously, my body is completely asleep, so I can't see anything. My eyes are closed, but consciously, I'm awake. I can talk in my head, I can feel, I can smell, I can hear, and I start feeling pressure in my feet. And as that moment, I can start feeling them do things to my feet. I am screaming bloody murder in my head, and I'm just trying to say that I'm awake, and I thought I was moving my mouth until eventually, no one was responding, so I figured that wasn't actually working. And this procedure was about 4 to 5 hours long, which was a lot shorter than my other ones, but while you're going through that, trust me, it feels a lot longer. And I won't go into details because it's very gruesome, and I was 7 years old, so I'll keep that in my suppressed memories. And when they finally were done and they woke me up physically, I absolutely lost my shit. As soon as I got a hold of my physical body again, I immediately shot up from my bed and started screaming on the top of my lungs, I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake. I was awake, I was awake, I was awake. And I was screaming and crying, and as I'm just losing my absolute shit, the nurse is doing everything in her power to push me back down onto the bed because I'm trying to sit up and scream, and I just got done with the procedure. I'm not supposed to be moving, and my mom is like, what the fuck is she talking about? And the nurse says that I had a bad dream. The nurse was like, oh, she must have just dreamt it. We get a couple people that say that they were awake during surgery, but it doesn't actually happen, and she'll be fine. And this was back in 2012, so I don't know when the actual studies and proof of this experience happening was, so they might have never knew that this was happening at the time. I'm not fully sure. And I don't blame the chick, but it was definitely it's nice now because I'm I was right, bitch. But yeah, and I woke up and I had to process that along with everything else. And I did just eventually chalk it up to maybe I did dream it, because everyone else was saying that I just dreamt it. Every bit my mom. My mom believed me, but about 5-ish years ago, I heard someone talking about it. Then I learned that other people had this experience and that it was called anesthesia awareness. And let me tell you the relief when I found out that it's an actual thing and I didn't dream it all. So that purpose of wanting to make sure other people know they're not alone and not crazy, it's absolutely fascinating. And I don't see it very often, at least around other medical issues. And I don't think I've ever been told it by a doctor, like, there's a chance that you might not be asleep. Like, nobody ever told me that, so I'll do it for you. But yeah, that is anesthesia awareness, and I would not be scared. It's only ever happened to me one time. I don't know why, or if other people are more at risk to it or not. And I think you might be able to ask for the doctors to have sort of machines that track your brain waves and stuff if you're really, want to make sure it doesn't happen. But again, I really wouldn't worry about it. It is super rare. But I just have very bad luck. Have you ever had not only a procedure, but any obscured, strange medical issues? If you have had conditions or experiences, I would love to bring them to light and eventually talk about very obscured medical things that people don't know about or don't talk about. So if you ever want your condition to be talked about in the future, please leave it in the comments. Yeah, thank you so much for listening and watching. Bye!